So we've got a bit of a problem on the roof. We plan to put in solar panels on the top, that's going to be his next job. But as we've come up here and had a look, the roof's got quite a few scratches, gouges, etc. So we're going to have to do something with them, because it is actually quite bad. So let me turn you around and show you. So as you can see, quite a scrape there. We've got some just by the backlight, over there, up there, and even more as we look forward up the van. So what we're going to have to do, we're going to have to get some cure rust, treat it, and hopefully it'll improve, and then we'll just paint over it with some white amorite, because it's never going to be seen up here with the solar panels over the top. It's literally just a case of just dabbing it on there, working it into the rust, and then after 2 or 3 hours it reacts with it, turns it a bluey black colour apparently, and we should just be able to paint over it. As I say, with it being on the roof, I am just going to use hammerite. I'm not worried over the colour match too much. Then we just need to get just little bits like that. Just don't want them getting anywhere. Probably should have cleaned the roof before we did this. I'm not too worried, as long as it stops the rust. I say the solar panels will be covering most of this anyway. What I'm also probably going to do, little bits like this, I'll just touch it with the amorite before we go ahead and put the solar panels on. Okay, so now we need to have a look inside. So we've actually left it overnight before painting, and as you can see what it's done to the rust, it's turned it so almost like a black colour. So see on that one as well. So yeah, I'm just going to literally brush a little bit of the white amorite on, and I don't think it's going to look the best, but it stops the roof from rusting through. So the next job that we need to do on the van, before we insulate, before we put any boarding inside, I want to get some cables run. And the first cables I want to get run are the solar panel cables. So what I'm actually going to do, I'm going to make a roof rack using unistrut, and then be able to put some spans across, and then the solar panel can suspend off them. And then we'll drill the roof, we'll get the cables down inside, ready for connecting up to this charge controller. So I've got a couple of lengths of unistrut, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to remove these bungs that are for attaching, or where you'd attach a roof rack. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to warm them up, get them out, and then because you've actually got sort of a raised up part just there, I've actually got these rubbers. So we're going to get rid of this, put a rivet in the hole. We've got some tape, some waterproof tape that we'll put over the hole, get one of these on, and then put the unistrut on and bolt through, and then hopefully that'll give us somewhere to span across. So yeah, let's get these out. So as you can see, we've now got it out. Yes, I was using a hairdryer, as I don't have a heat gun, but it worked perfectly fine. You make use of what you've got. Just looking at this now, actually, I was a bit concerned we might actually be back to bare metal, but we're not. There is some paint on there, so we're going to cover this over with some mastic tape anyway. And then looking inside, there is already a thread. So if we can actually get a bolt into that thread, then we don't need to use riv nuts. My only concern is where the thread is, it's actually offset to where the hole is. So we'll get the rest of these out and then we'll have a look. So despite the holes being just underneath for me to go straight into, 2 out of the 4 on this side don't actually line up. So I've just had to take a little bit more out with the drill. So I'm just going to get the Dremel, tidy that up a little bit, and then I'm probably going to have to just put a bit of hammerite on before I fasten the unistrut down. So the hammerite's dry. I'm going to put the microphone on. So the hammerite's dry from where we had to cut out to expose the threaded hole. So what we're actually going to do, we've got some of this mastic sealing strip. So we're just going to cut a piece of that off, lay that right across all the holes, put the rubber lifting piece on, and then get this one bolted down. So we've got the sealing strip on, just created a small hole to give us a chance because the bolts do struggle to go through this. So we'll try and get this first piece on. So I'm really pleased with how that's worked out. It's nice and solid, it's not going anywhere. The rubbers have just stepped it off, so it's not actually sat on the van roof. Although it may touch in places, but it shouldn't rub it, it shouldn't cause any damage to it or it to rust or anything like that. Let me turn you around and show you. So as you can see there, we've got the mastic strip at the bottom, then we've got the rubber which is nice and compressed, and then literally just in the top we're nicely bolted down, and then you can just see how it's just sat on top of the van. So the last thing I'm going to do, I'm going to put a bit of Sikaflex over the top of the bolt, make sure no water can get in there, and then I'm probably just going to run a little bit just around the side of the rubber, just around there, just so you can and any water coming down is going to go round this rather than try and get into the van. And then onto the other side. So I've put the cross members on using this shallow unistrut, and what I've actually had to do, I've had to use a spacer. Despite this being the thick 41mm unistrut, in the middle there, it's actually almost touching the roof. So I've got the 2 solar panels up, the 200 watt solar panels. So I just need to finish fastening these down. I'm just going to use tech screws. These are the brackets supplied with the solar panels. So we'll get these fastened down, and then all we need to do is sort the cabling out. Hopefully this battery's got charge in it. So we've got the panels secure in position. I've put a couple of connectors on just underneath so that these are going to be wired in parallel. So it's giving us a total of 400 watts. I've run the cables down the unistrut, and then what I've done, I've taken another one of these caps out the back, warmed it up. You can see there, put a bit of flexible conduit just through. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put a bit of Sikaflex around the conduit, just keep it in place as best I can, and then get this cap all nice and sealed. But what I will have to do, because we've got the ridge there, I'll just have to build it up a little, just to make sure no water can get under the front. And then I've got actually a weight, a little dumbbell, which I'm just going to keep on top of it overnight until it's fully gone off. Fill the little gap that is just there. I hate anything like this. Right, so we'll leave that in place overnight and hopefully we should be good.
Hope you enjoyed this video. Like and subscribe to join us on the next one when we install the skylight and the max fan.